Some trips end with photos and memories. Others end with scars that never heal. Tonight, I'm going to tell you 4 real stories. For people who thought they were just going on vacation. They were wrong. Sarah never came home from Romania. Marcus and Jennifer brought something back that won't leave them alone. David stayed in a hotel room that doesn't exist. And Flight 227, well, nobody talks about what really happened on Flight 227. By the end of this video, you're going to ask yourself one question. Which one would you have survived? Let's find out. Sarah Chun was 24 years old, Canadian. She'd been backpacking across Europe for 3 months by herself. Smart girl, street smart, always texted her parents every other day, no matter what, until she got to Romania. Her last Instagram post was October 15th, 2019. She's standing at this tiny train station, holding a ticket. She's smiling. The caption says, "Going off the beaten path. Found this amazing hostel in the mountains. Can't wait." That was the last time anyone heard from Sarah Chun. Day 1 passes. No big deal. Day 2. Her mom starts getting worried. Day 3. Her parents are calling the embassy. But here's the thing. Sarah did send one more message. Her mom got a text at 11:47 p.m. on October 16th. It said, "Mom, something's wrong here. The locals won't look at me when I mention the hostel name. Like, they actually turn away. One old woman made some kind of sign when I showed her the address. I'm getting out of here tomorrow morning." She never sent another message. The Romanian police started looking for her on October 20th. Took them 4 days to care about some missing tourist. They found her stuff spread out across 5 miles of mountain forest. Her backpack was hanging from a tree branch, 12 feet off the ground. No way she could have put it there herself. Her hiking boots were found 2 miles away, laces still tied, sitting neat and tidy on a rock like someone placed them there. But the weird thing? Sarah hated hiking. Her college roommate told the police Sarah wouldn't walk to class if she could take the bus. No way she went hiking alone in some Romanian mountains. The police report says she got lost on a hike and I'm reading this word for word, succumbed to the elements. Case closed. File stamped. Done. Except for one thing they didn't put in that report. They found Sarah's phone on October 22nd. Smashed against a tree, screen cracked all to hell, but it still turned on. And there was a voice memo, recorded at 2:43 a.m. on October 17th, the night she disappeared. I've heard this recording. A journalist friend sent it to me before the police made it disappear. You can hear Sarah whispering, like she's trying not to wake something up. She says, "I can't get out. I've been trying the door for 2 hours. It's locked from the outside, but there's no lock. And there's something moving in the walls. It sounds like scratching, like fingernails on wood. And voices, whispering voices, but I can't understand what they're saying." Then you hear her breathing get faster, scared breathing, and she says, "Wait, the scratching stopped. Oh God, I think it heard me." Then the recording just cuts out. Static. But if you turn the volume all the way up, if you really listen to that static, you can hear something else. Something that sounds like laughing, but not human laughing. The Romanian police won't release that recording. They say it's evidence in an ongoing investigation. But the investigation was closed 2 years ago. Sarah's body was never found. The hostel she was supposed to stay at, the address leads to an empty field. No building, no foundation, nothing. The locals in that village won't talk about it. When reporters ask about Sarah or about any hostel in the mountains, they just walk away. Some make that same sign the old woman made, fingers twisted in some weird shape. I want you to think about this. You're 24 years old, alone in a foreign country. You realize something's wrong, but you're stuck somewhere for the night. What do? Because Sarah tried to leave. And look how that turned out. Marcus and Jennifer Wright, married 2 years, went to Indonesia for their honeymoon in August 2020, right before everything went crazy with COVID. They stayed at this nice resort in Bali for a week. Normal tourist stuff. Beaches, fancy dinners, couples massages. But on their last day, Jennifer wanted to go to one of those local markets. You know, get some real souvenirs, not resort gift shop stuff. They found this little stall in the back corner. Old man selling wood carvings, masks, jewelry, ancient-looking stuff, real craftsmanship. Jennifer fell in love with this wooden mask. Dark wood, carved with these intricate patterns. Beautiful work. Creepy as hell, but beautiful. The old man didn't want to sell it. The seller kept shaking his head, pointing to other masks. Cheaper ones. Tourist stuff. But Jennifer had her heart set on this particular mask. Finally, Marcus offers him $300 cash. The old man's eyes go wide. That's serious money in rural Indonesia. But he still doesn't look happy about it. He takes the money, but he grabs Marcus by the wrist and starts talking fast in Indonesian. The only word Marcus catches is tidak, which means no. The old man keeps pointing at the mask and shaking his head. Marcus thinks the guy's just being dramatic. You know how it is, locals trying to make their stuff seem more mysterious, more valuable. So he takes the mask and they leave. Big mistake. The problem started on the flight home. Marcus and Jennifer were in row 23. Normal seats, nothing special. But about 4 hours into the flight, people around them started complaining. The woman in row 22 said she felt like someone was watching her. The guy across the aisle kept turning around, said he heard whispering. The flight attendant had to move 3 different passengers because they said they couldn't sleep. They all said the same thing. They felt like something was staring at them. The mask was in Marcus's carry-on bag, right above row 23. When they got home to Chicago, things got worse. First night back, their dog Max wouldn't go into the living room, just sat in the hallway, whining and staring at the wall where they'd hung the mask. Second night, Jennifer woke up to scratching sounds, like someone dragging their fingernails across wood. She thought it was mice in the walls. Called an exterminator. No mice. No insects. Nothing. Third night, Marcus woke up at 3 a.m. Jennifer wasn't in bed. He found her standing in the living room, staring at the mask. Just staring. For who knows how long. When he said her name, she jumped like she'd been shocked. Said she didn't remember getting up. Didn't remember walking downstairs. That's when they started doing research on the mask. Turns out, the mask wasn't just some tourist decoration. Marcus found a professor at Northwestern who specialized in Indonesian culture. Sent him photos. The professor called him back within an hour. Said the mask was used in funeral rituals. Specifically, rituals for people who died violently. People whose spirits were angry. The mask wasn't supposed to leave Indonesia. Ever. It was supposed to stay with the family, help keep the angry spirit calm. And they just brought it into their home. Things escalated fast after that. Jennifer started sleepwalking every night, always to the living room, always staring at the mask. And she started talking in her sleep. Not English, not any language Marcus recognized. Their neighbors started complaining. Said they could hear voices coming from the right house at all hours. Arguing voices. But Marcus and Jennifer lived alone. They tried to send the mask back. Overnight shipping to Indonesia. 2 days later, it was back on their doorstep. No return address. No explanation. Marcus and Jennifer have moved 3 times in the last 4 years. Portland, Denver. Now they're in Phoenix. The mask follows them every time. Not because they bring it. They've tried leaving it behind. They've tried destroying it. It just shows up. Last I heard, Jennifer's sleepwalking is getting worse, and the neighbors in Phoenix are starting to complain about the voices. So let me ask you something. You're on vacation, you see something you like, but the seller is practically begging you not to buy it. What do? Leave a comment. Let me know, because honestly, after hearing these stories, I'm not sure I trust my own judgment. And if you're getting that creepy feeling down your spine right now, if you're wondering what else is out there, hit that subscribe button, because what's coming next is going to make you question everything you think you know about travel. This next story This one's different. This one makes you wonder what's real and what isn't. David Park, 36 years old, software consultant from Seattle. He travels for work all the time. Hotels, flights, rental cars. It's all routine for him. March 2021, he's got a contract in Bangkok. Big tech company, 3-week project. His assistant books him at the Grand Palace Hotel. 5-star place, right in the heart of the city. David lands in Bangkok, takes a taxi to the hotel. Standard check-in process, except the desk clerk looks confused when David gives his name. The clerk stares at his computer screen for like 5 minutes, typing and clicking. Finally, he prints out a key card and says, "Room 1408, sir. 14th floor." David doesn't think anything of it. Takes the elevator up, finds his room, swipes the card. Door opens, everything looks normal. First thing David notices, the room is cold. Not like air conditioning cold. Cold like a basement in winter. He calls the front desk. They say they'll look into it. Second thing, the lights keep flickering. Not all of them, just the lamp by the bed. On, off, on, off. No pattern to it. David's tired from the flight, so he just deals with it. Takes a shower, orders room service, tries to get some sleep, but he can't sleep. Every time he's about to drift off, he hears this sound, like someone walking around in the room above him, pacing back and forth, back and forth. At 2 a.m., he calls the front desk, asks them to tell whoever's in the room above to keep it down. The desk clerk sounds confused, says, "Sir, you're on the top floor. There is no room above you." David looks out his window, counts the floors from the ground up. He's definitely not on the top floor. He can see 3 more floors above him. Next morning, he asks the concierge about it, shows him the key card, room 1408. The concierge goes pale, actually pale, starts typing on his computer, shaking his head, says there must be some mistake, says the hotel only has 14 floors and the rooms only go up to 1399. But David's standing right there with a key card that says 1408, and he definitely slept in a room last night. That's when things get weird. David goes to the elevator, presses 14. Door opens on the 14th floor. Everything looks normal. But when he presses the button for 15, the elevator goes up. The door opens, and there's his hallway, room 1408 at the end. But according to the hotel, the 15th floor doesn't exist. That afternoon, David starts asking other guests. Casual conversations in the lobby, by the pool. Has anyone seen the 15th floor? Most people look at him like he's crazy. But this one woman, older American tourist, she grabs his arm and whispers, "Stay away from that floor. Whatever you do, don't go back up there tonight." Turns out she was staying in room 1407 2 years ago. Same floor, right next to David's room. She said she heard things. Voices in the walls. Doors opening and closing when no one was there. And she said she saw other guests on that floor. But when she mentioned them to the hotel staff, those guests weren't registered anywhere. No record of them at all. That night, David decides to leave. Packs his stuff, heads for the elevator. Elevator won't come. He tries the stairs. Gets to the 14th floor, but the door to the 14th floor is locked. Key card doesn't work. He keeps going down, but the stairs just keep going. Floor after floor after floor, but no exit doors. Finally, he goes back to his room. The doors open. His suitcase is unpacked, like he never tried to leave. David ends up breaking the window and climbing down the fire escape. 15 floors down, cuts his hands on the metal ladder, but he makes it to the street. When David gets to the lobby, the night manager acts like nothing happened. No record of him checking out. No charge on his credit card for a broken window. And here's the really messed up part. David still has his key card. Room 1408. 4 years later, that card still works. He went back to Bangkok last year for another job. Stayed at a different hotel, but he walked past the Grand Palace Hotel, and he couldn't help himself. He tried the key card. It still works. Room 1408 is still there. Still cold. still waiting for him. The hotel says they have no record of room 1408 ever existing. Missing hikers, cursed souvenirs, impossible hotel rooms. Those are scary, sure, but they're nothing compared to this last story. Because this one involves 89 people. 89 people who got on a plane in Los Angeles and landed somewhere else. Somewhere that shouldn't exist. This story comes from someone who was there. Someone who worked for the airline. Someone who signed papers promising never to talk about what happened. But people talk. People always talk. I can't tell you his name. Let's call him Mike. Mike worked ground operations for a major airline at LAX. 23 years on the job. Seen everything. September 8th, 2018. Tuesday evening. Flight UA 227, Los Angeles to Denver. Nothing special about it. 89 passengers, 6 crew members. Normal evening flight happens every day. Flight takes off at 7:43 p.m., right on schedule. Captain Rodriguez, 20-year veteran. First Officer Kim, 10 years experience. These guys could fly that route in their sleep. Everything's normal for the first hour. Flight following its usual path over Arizona, New Mexico, heading for Colorado. Then, at 8:47 p.m., Flight UA 227 disappears from radar. Air traffic control tries to raise them on the radio. Nothing. Radar shows empty sky where the plane should be, like it just vanished. This goes on for 37 minutes. 37 minutes of nothing. No radio contact, no radar signature, no emergency beacon. The FAA starts preparing for the worst. At 9:24 p.m., Flight UA 227 appears back on radar. Same flight path, same altitude, same speed. Like nothing happened. Air traffic control calls them immediately. UA 227, where have you been? We lost you for over 30 minutes. Captain Rodriguez sounds confused. Says, Control, we've been here the whole time. No problems to report. Everything's normal. But it wasn't normal. When Flight UA 227 landed in Denver, the passengers were different. Mike was working the gate that night. He saw them come off the plane. First thing he noticed, they were all really quiet. 89 passengers getting off a plane, and you could hear a pin drop. No one talking, no one on their phones, no one complaining about the flight. They just walked off the plane like they were in a trance. Second thing Mike noticed, some of them looked wrong. Not injured, but wrong. Like they'd aged, or gotten younger, or something. This one woman, middle-aged when she got on the plane in LA. Mike saw her boarding pass, saw her ID. But when she walked off in Denver, she looked 20 years older. Gray hair, wrinkles, walking with a cane she didn't have before. And this kid, maybe 16 years old, got on in LA with his parents. When he got off in Denver, his parents didn't recognize him. They kept asking where their son was. The kid kept saying, "I'm right here, Mom," but they couldn't see him. The really weird part, some passengers had photos on their phones. Photos of an airport none of them recognized. Clean, white terminals with no signs, no logos, no identification anywhere. And in these photos, there were other people. People in uniforms they'd never seen before. People who spoke to them in English, but somehow different English. Wrong English. The passengers were held for medical evaluation. Standard procedure after any unusual flight incident. Doctors found things that didn't make sense. Some passengers had elevated radiation levels. Others had blood chemistry that was off, just slightly off, but wrong in ways the doctors couldn't explain. And 3 passengers were missing memories, complete gaps in their lives. Not just the flight, years of memories, gone. The official report says, temporary communication error, equipment malfunction. Mike says that's not what happened. Mike says they were told to sign papers, non-disclosure agreements. Don't talk about Flight UA 227. Don't talk about what you saw. But Mike's retiring next month. And sometimes, people talk when they don't have anything left to lose.